I just spent over $1,500 on 2 GPS dog collars, and one of them has a deal breaker that the companies conveniently forget to mention on their websites. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which collar to buy based on 3 real-world tests and which one's absolutely not for everyone. Let's do this. So, I bought both of them with my own money, full price. No sponsorships here, just me, 2 very expensive dog collars, and a determination to figure out which one actually lives up to the hype. And spoiler alert, the answer isn't really what I expected. First test, how much of a nightmare is the setup process? Because I've dealt with enough smart home gadgets to know that easy setup in minutes usually means spend an hour troubleshooting why the app won't connect to Bluetooth. So I opened both boxes and started the clock. Here's what actually happened when I set these up. It took some time. Now, if you really want to get the most value out of these, you're gonna create multiple fences. Weekend at your parents' house, new fence. Camping trip, new fence. You move in 2 years, new fence for your entire property. Halo lets you store up to 20 fences on their mid-tier subscription plan, unlimited on their premium plan. SpotOn, unlimited fences from day one, and you don't need any subscription to store them or use them. Which brings me to the trap that caught me a little off guard. Halo requires a subscription for the collar to function at all. $9.99 a month minimum every month forever, or this $549 collar is a paperweight. You need the subscription service for everything. GPS services, fence creation, cellular connectivity, all of it. SpotOn subscription is optional. The collar will create GPS fences, maintain them, and keep your dog contained without ever paying a monthly fee. The subscription, which starts at $7.49 a month, is only for live tracking and escape alerts. If you just want containment and you're not worried about real-time "where is my dog right now" tracking, you never pay monthly. Do the math over 3 years, Halo at $5.49 plus $10 a month for 36 months, you're at over $900. SpotOn with no subscription, $9.99. Done. SpotOn with tracking subscription, about $1,200. So the cheaper collar isn't actually cheaper unless you're only keeping it for like 6 months, which, why would you do that? Second test, and this is the big one. Does the accuracy actually matter, or is this just spec sheet bragging? Halo claims 1.4 feet average accuracy. SpotOn says 3 feet under open sky, 10 feet under heavy tree cover. Both of them claim to be the most accurate collar on the market, which is a fun way of saying we can't both be right, but we're both gonna say it anyway. So I took both collars to a local park to actually test them. Then I tested them in a heavily wooded area because SpotOn specifically advertises this forest mode feature for dense tree cover. When we first tested Halo and SpotOn in a normal backyard, they performed almost identically. Both have a learning curve and both need their boundaries placed a little further from roads, but in everyday conditions, you're not going to notice a big accuracy difference. Things changed when we stress tested them at a park with terrible cell service, dense trees, and a road close by. Halo took much longer to set up, and we saw a few missed or unclear warnings once we started the walk test. SpotOn, meanwhile, hit every alert clearly. Warning tone, vibration, accelerated vibration, all while keeping a safe distance from the road. And since we drew the boundary manually to match Halo's map, both collars had identical placement. You may not see huge differences in an average yard, but in tougher environments, SpotOn consistently stayed more accurate in our testing. If you need reliability when your phone barely has a signal, SpotOn is still the safer pick. Here's why this matters more than you might think. A false alert, where the collar warns or corrects your dog when they're actually in the safe zone, is a training disaster. Your dog learns they can't trust the boundaries because they're getting punished randomly. That's not just annoying, that's fundamentally breaking the entire system. And now here's the deal breaker that I mentioned in the beginning. Halo works on properties as small as 900 square feet. That's a 30-foot by 30-foot box. If you've got a tiny urban yard, Halo is literally your only GPS option. SpotOn requires at least half an acre or 80 feet wide at the narrowest point. If you try using it on a smaller property, your dog is constantly near a boundary getting warnings, which defeats the entire purpose. So this isn't even a which one is better question, it's which one works for your property. Small yard, you're buying Halo or you're not getting GPS. Big property, you've got options, but the accuracy differences start to matter more. Third test, what it's actually like to use these collars every day. Because the spec sheet doesn't tell you if the app is going to make you want to throw your phone into a lake. Let's talk battery life real quick. Halo claims 30 plus hours. SpotOn claims 25 plus with tracking or 40 plus without. Here's the thing, just charge your device. The difference between 24 and 35 hours, it sounds dramatic, but in practice, if you're using the collar all day, even after 8 hours of use, just throw it on the charger at night. It's not like your phone where you're panicking at 20% by noon. Both collars last long enough that this isn't a real deciding factor. What actually matters more is the app experience. Serial number, scan the QR code on the box or the back of the collar. Halo has built-in activity tracking. It monitors your dog's steps, distance, active time. If you're the kind of person who likes fitness data for your dog, that's a cool bonus feature. SpotOn doesn't have all that stuff. It does one thing and that's it. But here's where it gets interesting. Halo has these Halo beacons, little Bluetooth devices you can put around your house. Want to keep your dog away from the trash can, the fireplace, your toddler's room? Drop a beacon and the collar creates keep-away zones. That's actually pretty clever for indoor use. SpotOn uses GPS for everything, which means you can set keep-out zones around outdoor areas like pools or gardens, but GPS doesn't really work indoors. However, and this is smart, SpotOn has home zones. You set a GPS perimeter around your house, and when your dog is inside that zone, all feedback is disabled. No random beeps while your dog is sleeping on the couch. Halo doesn't have that, so unless you manually pause the collar every time you bring your dog inside, you risk false alerts indoors. And let me tell you, a random vibration or beep when your dog is just vibing on the floor, not great for their stress levels. So again, these little details do start to matter when you consider using these every day. If you value having an activity tracker, maybe that is a factor. Probably wouldn't be for me personally, but if you want it, it's there. One thing Halo does that's genuinely cool, positive reinforcement audio. It has a good dog clip, a whistle sound, a go home command you can trigger from the app. This is Cesar Millan's whole training philosophy. Reward what you want, don't just punish what you don't want. If you're into that approach, Halo is the only collar that has it built in. If accuracy is your top priority, SpotOn is still the one to beat. In every test we ran, dense trees, weird GPS pockets, open fields, SpotOn was consistently the more precise system. If you live in a rural area, have larger properties, or have a dog who just likes to test boundaries, that extra reliability really matters. It also doesn't rely on a subscription for core containment, so if you prefer paying once and knowing you've got the most accurate collar available, SpotOn is the safer pick. Halo, on the other hand, wins on ease of use and comfort. The app is more intuitive, the setup feels more guided, the collar tends to fit a wider range of dogs, especially smaller ones. If you're not super tech savvy, or you have a more typical suburban yard and just want something straightforward that just works, Halo is easier to get started and it's still very capable. It's not quite as precise as SpotOn, but for a lot of everyday situations and everyday people, you may just like it better. Sometimes it's a gut thing, you know? Here's the biggest takeaway. Don't make your decision based on the upfront price tag. People see Halo at $549 and assume it's the cheaper option, but with $10 per month over 5 years, you'll likely spend more than you would with SpotOn. The real decision comes down to whether you actually need live tracking. If your dog has a history of escaping, you live rural, or you just want that peace of mind, pay for the tracking with either collar. It's worth it. But if your dog respects boundaries after training and you just need backyard containment, SpotOn without a subscription is the smarter long-term move. One payment, no ongoing fees. Bottom line, you know more now than 99% of shoppers. Pick the collar that fits your property size and your tolerance for subscriptions. Get your dog trained and enjoy modern pet ownership brought to you by the future. And if you already bought one or end up grabbing one, drop a comment and tell me how it went. We'll see you in the next one.